Hello, and welcome to my review of the theatrical cut of the sci-fi horror film Alien from 1979, directed by Ridley Scott. I base my verdict on three things: the script of the film, the execution of the film, and lastly, the story, as in the meaning of the film. There needs to be originality and quality in drama, entertainment, and art. But let's get on with it. I hope you enjoy. Because the script is the foundation of a film, I'll first go through it, making comments along the way. Alien opens in the emptiness of space, with this iconic title reveal, after which we are greeted by what's basically a space truck. An expositional text offers needed information immediately about our towing ship, the Nostromo, and its massive cargo. The text box is basic, but effective, and at least saves further dialogue from hammering exposition down our throats. There's gonna be enough stuff hammered in throats later anyway. We move inside the Nostromo. After we are very slowly, yet beautifully, introduced to the ship, the crew wakes up and we get to know them. The great thing about this cast is that none of them were big stars back in the day. You couldn't tell who makes it out. They ain't the main character for a while really, which increases the stakes. And of course, this crew is wonderful. Distinct personalities, having fun together, pissing each other off, getting stressed by work and ordinary things. Some of the dialogue is improvisational, adding to the believability. Very relatable and real. This is vital for the success and impact of the horror later. The crew finds out that the Nostromo stopped and woke them up because of a beacon being noticed by the ship on the nearby unknown planet LV-426, and the company protocol requires them to investigate. And let's admit it, what a better way to draw the audience in than a little bit of mystery. The Nostromo leaves the cargo in orbit and lands, suffering some damage on the way, making for some good entertainment. In the meantime of repairing the ship, a part of the crew investigates the source of the beacon. A derelict spacecraft of unknown origin is discovered, and as the group heads in, their signal cuts off. A long-dead extraterrestrial life form is found within the strange ship. Something has burst through its chest. Great foreshadowing there. Kane decides to descend even further, finding a large amount of strange eggs within a blue field. He gets too tempted by these big ball sacks, a very human flaw, and it backfires. The crew returns to the Nostromo with the infected Kane, and even though Ripley tries to keep it by the book and not allow them in, Ash bypasses her and does the opposite. There's some examining the facehugger, finding out that it has implanted something into Kane's chest and that it has acid for blood. There's nervousness, another jump scare, and, well, the facehugger then dies suddenly, and when the Nostromo is fixed, they leave LV-426 behind. Strangely, Kane has woken up. The audience is momentarily fooled into thinking everything is fine. The crew is having their last supper together as a full team, until the miracle of birth takes place. In what is arguably one of the best death scenes of all time, the alien bursts out of Kane's chest, killing him, takes a good look at everyone, and disappears. The build-up was long, but massively worth it. After Kane's funeral, the horror commences aboard the Nostromo. First, they try to capture the alien. That results in the loss of breath. Then, they try to kill it. Say goodbye to Captain Dallas. We feel the loss of each crew member in our hearts as paranoia and tension take over the remaining crew. It becomes clear that either the alien wins or the crew gets the fuck out. Ripley finds out that the sinister Weyland-Yutani Corporation, aided by Ash, have set the ship back to LV-426 to gather specimen and ensure the alien makes it to the hands of the company. The frustrated Ripley attacks Ash, revealing him to be an android, in a great twist. Seeing the crew expendable, Ash attempts to kill the compromising Ripley and malfunctions because of the dissonance between his programming and the orders he received. Ash is thankfully destroyed by Parker and Lambert.
You have my sympathies.
Now the crew attempts to escape, but apart from Ripley and the cat Jonesy, the crew has fallen silent. Ripley sets the Nostromo to self-destruct to ensure the alien's demise and evacuates the ship in a heart-pounding escape scene, fueled by anxiety and distress. But she makes it with the cat, and we are allowed to breathe as they depart from the Nostromo in an escape shuttle, just as the countdown comes to an end. Boom. Ripley puts Jonesy to sleep and gets comfy, but as the cliché goes, we need a final scare. The alien wasn't destroyed, instead it's on board, seemingly hibernating. With no way out, Ripley has to kill it, or die. She finds her inner fighter, confronts the alien and flushes it into space. The horror is over, and I've never been more relieved to see a monster get offed. And even better, the film just ends there, no need to calm things down too much. So Ripley goes to sleep, awaiting rescue. That last cut to space is great. We return to the source of fear, the great unknown. Well, I just went through the whole plot and didn't complain even once. Impressive. If there are plot holes, I couldn't find them. Well done. The classic 3-act structure was at play, and interestingly, the thrill-filled first act took half of the film for build-up, devoting the second half for the horror and resolutions. Every 10 minutes is a fresh scenario, keeping up the entertainment. The dialogue is fittingly realistic, very solid work. The sexually undertoned alien is quite possibly the most inventive and frightening monster in cinema. Its life cycle makes it the perfect organism, focused only on surviving and breeding. The disturbing interspecies rape and the implanted parasite growing inside you until inescapable death by childbirth really gets under your skin. By making you fear the comfort of your own body, the horror is internalized. Kane's son uses intelligence to prey on its victims, making you afraid of it because you know that when you see it, it's game over. And it ain't just death it deals in. Never finding out the ultimate fates of Brett and Dallas feeds nightmare fuel to our imagination, not to mention Lambert's naked death seeming to indicate deathly sexual urges. Truly an externally and internally scary monster. Ripley is a worker both tough yet feminine, who clearly does the best job she can, following orders to the T. When all goes to hell, she is forced to change, and understands that the time for orders is over, becoming the lone survivor in the end. From a servient android to a mess torn between conflicting orders, Ash represents the grasp of greedy corporations on ordinary people. The various hints of his inhumanity throughout the film are great to pick up on. Dallas is a fair captain who puts the priorities of others ahead of his own, taking care of everyone equally. When shit hits the fan, he takes full responsibility and goes face to face with the alien. His selflessness turns out to be a fatal flaw. Kane is the curiousness of humanity, disturbing things that should be left alone. His inability to resist temptation drags him over the edge, death being his punishment. Lambert represents the audience's fear. She lacks the courage to take control of the situation and lets fear get the best of her. Of course, she dies. The cocky Parker, on the other hand, shows himself to be brave, but sadly, too brave. The heart and soul of the Nostromo, Brett, always does what's asked of him, like a loyal dog desiring a reward. Sadly, that reward is the alien. Getting the characters right is hard, and here they shine as real people we can truly relate to. Quite possibly the only drawback you can think of is that they aren't too deep, as we don't know anything about their background, but considering their quality otherwise and the type of film they are in, that's a minor flaw. The acting is superb, even the cat is great. I personally enjoyed the performances of Sigourney Weaver, Ian Holm, and John Hurt the most. The story of Alien warns of the darkness and vices of sexuality in life. Temptation, phallic penetration, rape, and forced pregnancy expose us to the immoral darkness behind sexuality and reproduction held within a supreme monster. The cycle of life keeps rolling, out with the old, in with the new. The game of life is played by the rulebook of the fittest survivor. What are we to do when that is this force of nature, hell-bent on achieving his urges by force? Will our tale end in submission? Should we just bow down before dominance? And above all, is that right? Alien tackles its story extremely well and with focus. It ain't crowded or lost in contriving messages. Wonderful. The stunning, well-constructed visuals of Ridley Scott scale up the story and play with our emotions perfectly. Scott knows what to focus on and when to be lighter on the visuals, getting dynamic only when highlighting the most significant moments. Not showing the alien much is a wise decision, considering the power of imagination and how the alien is just a dude in a rubber suit. The harmonious portrayal of space as a looming, untouched darkness makes it a perfect, uncomforting backdrop for horror, adding to the feeling of isolation and helplessness. There's no escape. The slow pace is fantastic. Everything is given room to breathe and sink in, resulting in greater tension. It also helps in the realistic depiction of space travel as being cumbersome. The design of the Nostromo by Ron Cobb creates an unmatched horror environment. It's unique without being too fancy. It has a realistic, used, gritty character fit for a cheap space truck with cheap workers. Everything seems to be functional, operated and logical. The confined spaces create claustrophobia, and the flashing lights and smoking pipes add paranoia to the mix. You never know where the alien is hiding. Perhaps the only poor thing in the film, the eventual explosion of the Nostromo, just doesn't quite work and comes across as cheap. H.R. Giger's ethereal designs make this movie. The derelicts and the alien itself are so distinctly fascinating through the grandiose biomechanoid darkness at play here. Nothing of the sort can be found on Earth. It's really alien. Sexual undertones make it creepy. Vaginal doors, penises everywhere. All of it scary, yet strangely tempting. Like a sexual urge, it's hard to resist. The sound of the film utilizes the industry and technology of the Nostromo for great effect. The alien is given very distinct noises, but the greatest sound of all is quite possibly silence. Along with the fantastic score by Jerry Goldsmith, the sounds are reserved and used sparingly, highlighting the unknown within our imaginations. Alien is a masterpiece ahead of its time. It knows its players and uses them accordingly. Together, the inventive sights, sounds and pacing create an immersive atmosphere of dread. From a B-movie script that is largely a back-to-basics haunted house flick, Ridley Scott manages to pull out an A-level film, combining entertainment, art and drama masterfully, granting Alien its long-lasting appeal. This is a classic for a reason. 10 out of 10.